Hi guys, quick video today on this Husqvarna 520iHD60. Now I think that sign there, that little sticker's long enough. They could have put a few more numbers there. What do you reckon? I don't know what it is with Husqvarna, they've got the longest numbers ever. Anyway, it's the professional 60 centimetre hedge trimmer. Now this is a fault with these things. I just thought I'd do a video before I put it back together because I've just fixed mine, and because it's a bit of a nightmare if you pull one apart. Now the problem that I was having is tilting the machine sideways. It's sort of as if it wasn't getting proper contact, so it'd slow down like the motor was like that sort of sound, or whirring. As if the blades were going a bit slower, and it was really frustrating. So I thought it's got to be electrical, and I know the motor's good, and I've actually had one of these machines before, and the major control unit or whatever they told me blew up, so I had to buy a new one, which I'm not happy about because they charged me $200 to have a look at the old one and tell me it was stuffed. So anyway, I mean, that's the dealer, that's not Husqvarna's fault. But that's what happens, and it seems to be when you get on the sides here of the handle and hold the safety in, that it does it. And usually it's pretty good when it's held straight up, but if you get your hands around on the side, that's when it sort of does it more. And it was just a nightmare. So I pulled it apart. Now, there's 10 screws around here. And if I can show you, there's 2 under there. So there's 10 screws. The hex torque, or torques, or whatever they're called, that sort of head. So when you pull it apart, I just don't want you to worry or stress, because half the time it falls apart when you undo the screws, and all this bit here will come out. So this little plastic thing here falls out. There's a spring in there that falls out. I'll just see that spring. And half the time these black things here, there's 3 of those around there. 1, 2, 3. Now I'll just show you these. It's hard to do this with one hand. They're just that black thing, so they just sit on there. So if you've pulled it apart and it's fallen apart, put your black things back in, put your handle in. Now the spring goes over here, where you would think the spring would be located over here on this thing, but it's not. It just slips in there, pushes down there, and that's it. That's it. Now the problem is, if you can see this little arm here, see I've got some glue on it. It gets weak and fatigued, and mine had a hairline crack in it. Some guys I've seen it actually snaps off. So see this thing? That little lever hooks over that. So when you pull this handle up, if you can see, it pulls that white thing up, which over here on the actual hedge trimmer, it activates that switch. Hear it click? So it's simple. And this thing here, this little switch, locates onto these. There's 2 plastic lugs there. So you can't stuff up how you put it back together. So that's just how to get it back together. Now, I'll go into the problem. Husqvarna need to beef this area up here to make that little arm stronger. I mean, it would be, I'm not an engineer and I'm not the Husqvarna designers, but if they just beefed that up a bit, you would never have this problem. It'd be so simple to fix. So, yeah, and to put it back together, you just got to, I put a bit of pressure on here so it holds it all together, and you locate that switch back onto the lugs, hold it together, get a couple of screws in, and you're right. and usually that fixes the problem. I used some JB Weld just to strengthen that up and to glue the little crack I had in it. So hopefully it won't flex. See, what was happening with mine, it wasn't broken, but when you pull it up, it was just flexing enough to give it a whir. See, when you pull sideways, that lever moves over there. So you can see how it works. So if you do pull one apart, don't stress, because it's pretty simple the way it goes together. I mean, I was stressing out. I thought the spring went over here and I didn't know where this thing went, and you just take your time and you work it out. So anyway, guys, that's just a little tip on these things. Overall, this machine's probably the smoothest hedge trimmer I've ever used in battery power. Like, you wouldn't go back to a petrol after using battery. The only thing I'd say is with the Husqvarna is this problem, I had it on the old machine, then the old machine blew up in the end. Now I've had the problem with this machine. I've been through 2 of the shorter pole hedge trimmers in Husqvarna, which are, they're just money-making machines and it gets a lot of use, but I've had trouble, you know, with the old one I had trouble. The new one seems to be very good, but as far as handheld hedge trimmers, I would not go back to I wouldn't buy another Husqvarna, only because the dealer left a really sour taste in my mouth after I bought this one by charging me $200 to look at the old one, telling me it was broken, and then I had to fork out for a new machine plus the $200 for having them look at the old one. So yeah, there's lots of options out there these days, and because I've had that bad run with the Husky, I'd probably go on Makita next time. You do need the 4,000, at least 4,000 strokes per minute blade speed, which a lot of machines are coming out with now. I know still some of the new Stihl ones have a faster blade speed, but I do think you need at least 4,000 strokes a minute if you're doing really nice, fine stuff. But anyway, guys, I hope that helps some people, because I know it's a nightmare if you pull that apart and it falls apart. So spring in here, these little black things around there, that thing there, your switch locates, see the holes on the switch, locates on the lugs, you get it together, it just sits like that, located, and put your screws back in. But I'd say if this was busted straight off, if you snap that off, you'd probably be better off buying a whole new orange handle and just replace the whole piece. Anyway, I hope that saves a few of yous a few dollars, because taking these things to the dealer sometimes can be expensive. Anyway, cheers for now. See you later, boys.